Thank you, Mr. Leader. Thanks to all of you. No, we will not be ripping up the speech tonight. I would like to frame it in gilded gold, but I'm not sure how to. We understand that nobody really wants to talk about 2026 yet, the midterm cycle, but we are, because we are very excited about what that is going to yield. We're in very strong position to defy what is the norm. It's not traditionally expected for a new president to pick up seats in that first two-year midterm for his party, but we are going to grow the majority next year, and we have a great plan to do that. Well, President Trump makes his triumphant return, of course, tonight, as was mentioned. It's 5 years after his last State of the Union address. This is a joint address to Congress, not a State of the Union, because a State of the Union is typically delivered on or around the sort of the one-year anniversary, first year in office. But this president is working so quickly, I invited him to come early in the process to give this joint address because there's so much to report to the people. Because we've seen this movie before. George Soros funded groups and others literally pay protesters. And, I saw my friend Hakeem Jeffries decrying that I've said that, but we know that that is a fact. Democrat activists who don't live in the district very often will show up for these town hall events, and they'll go in an hour early and they'll fill all the seats. And so the constituents and the people from the community that are actually represented don't even get a seat. Now, I'm not saying everyone in these, all the Democrats in these town halls that you've seen on television were not from the local area, but look, there are people who do this as a profession. From my perspective, what is happening at the Secretary of State, Department of Defense, and of course all through the White House is well within the President's authority. They have discretion on some of these funds and how to use them. There's been consternation about the announcement that they would pause military aid to Ukraine, and I had a few people ask me this morning, well, don't you think that's a violation of separation of powers or something? It's not. The President has authority to do that, to act as the Commander-in-Chief, to use the strategy that he and his team believe is best fit for that. So a clean CR allows us to avoid a government shutdown, which isn't good for anyone, while the DOGE effort continues, and it's really critical work, finding fraud, waste, and abuse throughout the government. So what the DOGE effort will do is prepare recommendations for FY26. We have to get FY25 done. We will not be funding fraud, waste, and abuse that's already been discovered. As soon as that is qualified and quantified, okay, it will be codified in that sequence. And what that means is we have a deadline of March 14. We don't have time to calculate all the things in major categories to work in an appropriations process in that amount of time. So what will happen is in a clean CR requested and supported by the President and all of us, we will fund the government responsibly, and at OMB, the Office of Management and Budget, and in the White House, they will not direct funds to these categories of things that have been shown to be abusive. The America First agenda is to reset those relationships. And his idea of reciprocal tariffs policies is actually really comports with common sense. I mean, if we have a country that we have a huge trade imbalance with because they're charging 100% tariff on imports from the U.S., well, then we need to bring that down. How do we bring it down? By giving them a dose of their own medicine. Now, this is not an adversarial thing. This is to continue good relationships and trade policy. Just have a little patience with this, let it play out, see how it develops, and I think at the end of the day, America is going to be better off. American consumers, American families, and all of us as a nation and as a people.